Please introduce yourself to the jurors.
Artron Timmons. I live.
How do you spell your name?
Artron. Last name Timmons. Timmons.
Okay. And Mr. Timmons, you said you lived across the street. We're talking about back in November of 2010, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And where was that? Where did you live at that time?
901 Sutter Creek Run.
Where is that in Tallahassee?
South side by Jim Lee Road and behind Fairview.
Okay. Over there by the fairgrounds and stuff as well? Capitol Stadium and all that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You said you lived across the street. Do you know Brandi Peters?
Yes, sir.
How do you know Miss Peters?
Her and my mama was friends, neighborhood.
Your Honor, can I approach the witness? You may. Showing you some previously marked State's Exhibit number 1. Who is that?
Brandi Peters.
That's Brandi Peters?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, this time is State's Exhibit number 1 in evidence, please.
Any objection? Be admitted.
Permission to publish?
You may.
Did Miss Peters have any children?
Yes, sir.
Did she have any boys or girls?
Both.
Okay. Did you get to meet the girls?
Yes, sir.
What was the girl's name?
Tamaya and Tanaya.
Showing previously marked State's Exhibit number 2 for identification purposes. Do you recognize them?
Yes, sir.
Who's that?
Tamaya and Tanaya.
Okay. Your Honor, I move State's Exhibit number 2 in evidence, please.
Any objection? Be admitted.
Permission to publish?
You may.
Now the twins, which one's which?
Man, it's hard. It's hard.
It's hard to know, right?
Yeah.
How old were you back in November 2010?
2010, I had to be like 14. Yes, sir, 14.
14 years old. Okay. All right. Now you said you had a little boy?
Yeah.
Okay. What was his name?
Javante.
Showing some previously marked State's Exhibit number 3 for identification purposes. You recognize that?
Yes, sir.
Who's that?
That's Javante.
That's Javante? Your Honor, move State's Exhibit number 3 in evidence, please.
Any objection? Be admitted.
Permission to publish?
You may.
Now you mentioned that your mom and Brandi were friends.
Yes, sir.
Were you living with your mom at that time?
Yes, sir.
Who else you live with?
My stepfather,
What's his name?
Marquise Davis.
Okay. On the morning of November 20th, were you asked to go over to Brandi's house?
Yes, sir.
Why?
Because her mom had been texting my mama, trying to get in contact with her or something like that. I know they was trying to get a hold of her.
Was your mom home at the time?
Nah, she was at work.
All right, so she called you?
Yes, sir. I had stayed home from school. Well, no, I think that was a Saturday, wasn't it? Wasn't it the weekend?
I think it's up to, you're the witness. You tell me.
Yeah, I don't really remember if it was the weekend or not, but I remember like she called me early that morning. Like she called the house phone, and she was like, "Go over there and tell Brandi to call her mama, cause nobody get in contact with her." I'm like, "All right, that ain't nothing."
Okay. Did you go over there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And when you went over, you live, how far away were you? How far away do y'all live?
To be exact, it was a corner right there on the corner. I lived right there across the street and 2 houses down. Well, yeah, 3 houses down.
3 houses down, but across the street as well.
Yes, sir.
So a pretty short distance there.
Yeah, like straight diagonal. Like I walk out my front door, I see her front door.
Okay. Did you go over to her house?
Yes, sir.
When you got to her house, what did you do?
Well, I tried to ring the doorbell, but the doorbell was busting. I seen blood, and I'm knocking on the door. I'm thinking like, oh,
let me stop you right there. You said the doorbell was busted?
Yes, sir.
What do you mean it was busted? It was broken off, or it just wasn't working?
It wasn't. It was like pushed in.
Okay.
Like you can't ring it.
Okay. And you said you saw something, blood?
Blood.
Where'd you see blood at?
I saw it like as I was walking up. I saw it like drops. Like I'm thinking like a kid hurt himself, but then I look up. It's on the curtains. It's like everywhere. Like on the inside, you can see like it was like blood.
All right, approach.
You bet.
Showing you photographs. It's been marked previously as composite 5A and B. Take a look at those photographs real quick.
Yeah.
Are those photographs of the house?
Yes, sir.
Brandi Peters' house?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Your Honor, those states composite 5 A and B in the evidence.
Any objection?
No.
Be admitted.
Permission to publish?
You may.
Now, I'm going to guess that the crime scene photos, the yellow tape and stuff like that, that wasn't there when you walked up, correct?
No.
Okay. But that's her front of her house?
Yes, sir.
Again, crime scene tape wasn't there, but is that also the front door of her house?
Yes, sir.
I noticed this window appears to be broken out in this photograph. Was it broken out when you walked out there?
No, sir.
Okay, that window was intact?
Huh?
That window was there?
Yeah, it was intact.
Okay, all right. So you walked up, doorbell doesn't work, see blood, what'd you do next?
Knocked on the door. I mean, like, I still did it. Like, knocked on the door. You know, I'm young.
You knocked on the door?
Yeah.
Okay,
Like,
anybody answer?
No.
Okay. What happened next?
Went home, called my mama, told her I seen blood. She told me to call the police.
Did you call the police?
Yes, sir.
Law enforcement respond?
Yes, sir.
Now I'm going to ask you, when was the last time you saw Brandi? Before that?
I don't remember.
What about the kids?
The day before.
Okay. Who'd you see? I mean, there's 3 kids, Tamaya, Tanai, and Javante. Do you remember who you saw?
All 3 of them.
Okay. Where'd you see them at?
In between our houses, well, in between my neighbor house. Oh, yeah, my house and my neighbor house.
Okay. So right there by your house.
Yes, sir.
What were they doing? Do you remember what time it was?
They was planning and had to be around 5 or 6 o'clock because I went to school and I got to school at 3:50 and I used to always get home late. And that was a long walk because my bus stop was at the top of Jim Lee Road. So it had to be around like between 5 and 6.
That's the normal time you get home?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And what were they doing?
Playing, like always. It was just like a regular day.
Okay. Did you see anything in their hand or around them regarding food?
Yeah, it was some rappers, it was some Burger King rappers and whatnot. Cause I remember when I went in the house, my mama had done came outside and she had done seen it and she was like, oh, like, you know, like these kids got all this trash in the yard or whatever. So
it's not normal to have trash in the yard?
I mean, it's normal to have trash in the yard, but you know, it was just like, you know how it is.
Unfortunately, you have to tell the jurors what it's like.
It's like, okay, you know, like it's something in your yard, it's like, dang, it's trash in my yard. You know, like
Okay.
that situation.
And the trash you're talking about is the Burger King trash?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so somebody made exception to the fact there was new Burger King trash in the yard, is what you're saying?
Yes, sir.
Didn't like it.
Yeah.
So is that why the Burger King stood out to you, the trash?
No, it's just like I remember like that was something my mama had said. Like them kids need to get that trash up. Like they out there playing, they need to get that trash up.
Okay. But there's new Burger King
Yeah, trash. Yeah.
Okay. At some point, were you asked to go back to their house and get them or anything along those lines?
Yes, sir. I was asked to get them cut my stuff out. I had them cook some oxtails and some more stuff, but
Do you remember when that was?
Not really. I know it was like the day before, but I don't remember like the exact time. I had to be out of school, you know. But
Okay. All right, so it was after you came home and you told the other, what time y'all normally eat dinner?
I don't remember.
Okay.
It wasn't like a set time. It was like whenever the food got done. Whenever the food got done, we finna eat.
Was it earlier in the evening, closer to when you got home then?
A little bit after.
A little bit?
Yeah.
Within, say, an hour?
Yeah.
So roughly an hour after you got home, you're asked to go over there and get them.
Yes, sir.
So somewhere between 6 and 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you eat oxtail soup?
I don't like oxtails.
Did you go get the kids?
I think so.
Did you get all of them, or just one, or all 3 of them come?
I don't think all of them came. I think it was just one of the girls. I told one of the girls to tell the rest of them. I don't really remember, like, for sure.
Okay. But you didn't sit down and eat with them or know whether they ate or not?
No. I was a loner. I'm a lonely child.
Okay. All right. You talked to law enforcement after they responded and told them all this?
Yes, sir.
One moment. No further questions.
Cross.
May I approach for just a moment?
What's that?
May we approach for just a moment?
Sidebar?
Yes, sir.
Okay. May proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Timmons, I just wanted to clarify one issue. In earlier court proceedings, you wouldn't appear voluntarily. The state had to secure a material witness warrant for you, correct?
Yes, sir.
And that was because you were afraid.
Yes, sir.
And to be clear, it was not because you were afraid of Mr. Segura or anybody connected to Mr. Segura.
That is correct.
No further questions.
Redirect.
Let's be clear, you're a little younger back then, correct?
Yeah.
You're here today, you're actually living where now?
North Dakota.
North Dakota?
Yes, sir.
Came down voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
You're under subpoena, of course, but you came down voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
No questions, no issues?
No, sir.
All right.
Okay. Any juror have a question of this witness? All right. If not, you can step down. Do we need to keep him any further?
No, Your Honor.
Need him for any reason, Mr. Prince?
Not that I anticipate, but I would ask that you remain subject to the rule and under subpoena and go about his business.
Well, when was he planning to return to North Dakota?
I honestly don't know what his flight plans are.
Yeah, I don't want to, unless you have, do you know when you were planning to leave?
Yes, sir. On the 12th.
The 12th? Okay, you're going to stay here anyway till then.
Yes, sir.
Okay, remain till then. Let the attorneys know how to contact you. Call you next witness.
Your Honor, this time today we'll call Officer Jernigan.
But hearing everything okay, I know we had Mr. Fuchs' mic a little over revved there, but I think we got that sorted. Other than that, are y'all hearing things okay? Like I say, we're at a new sound system. We're kind of trying to get it adjusted. It's not a new system, new controls, so trying to get it a little bit adjusted here. If you face the clerk and be sworn, please.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you give in this case will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I do.
May I proceed, Mr. Fuchs?
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning.
Good morning.
Can you please introduce yourselves to the jurors?
Officer Jernigan with the Tallahassee Police Department.
And your first name is?
Candice.
And can you please spell your first and last name for Madam Reporter, please?
It's CANDICE JERNIGAN.
And you're an officer with the Tallahassee Police Department?
Yes, sir.
How long have you been an officer with them?
Going on 16 years.
16 years. What are
With
your
TPD.
duties normally as a Tallahassee police officer?
I'm in the field training division, so I'm a field training officer. I'm on patrol, which is on the south side of town.
Okay. Back in November of 2010, what were your duties then?
I was on patrol, south side of town, southeast particularly.
By being on patrol, what does that entail?
Calls for service, proactive work. Generally, dispatch will send us a call, we'll respond, or if we come across something in the field, proactively traffic stops, things like that, we'll address those.
And back in 2010, would you have been in uniform, Tallahassee police officer uniform,
Yes,
similar
sir.
to what you're wearing now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Were you in a marked unit?
Yes, sir.
I know cars have changed a lot since then.
Yes, they have.
Like back then, it was the white and blue with the lights and
Yes.
everything like that. Okay. Back in November 20th, 2010, in the morning hours, did you have an occasion to respond to Saddle Creek Run?
I did.
Do you remember what time it was that you responded?
It's around 10 in the morning, a little after.
And where did you respond to?
908 Saddle Creek Run.
Was that here in Leon County?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Whenever you first responded, at that time, were you, I know you talked about field training officer. At that time, is it one officer in a car or two officers? Were you working
One
in there?
officer.
Okay. So one officer per car.
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
When you responded to Saddle Creek Run, were you alone?
I was alone.
Okay. What did you do when you first got there?
I went to the intersection of Jim Lee and Saddle Creek Run and made contact with the complainants or the callers that called initially.
Okay.
TPD.
And I assume they briefed you about what was going on?
Yes, sir.
What did you do next?
They had pointed out the house 908 Saddle Creek Run, and I observed that there was blood on the exterior of the house, and so I also observed there was a car in the yard of 908 Saddle Creek Run. There were kids playing in the car, so I made a point to remove the kids and get help in trying to keep citizens back from the house, just based on the outside appearances that something might have occurred inside.
Okay. So why was it important to remove the kids, but not the car, but also maintain the security that you're talking about?
Because there was a large amount of blood on the exterior, on the garage and on the front door, so it was obvious to me in my training experience something bad had happened or was happening still in the house, and my concern was for the children, and in case there was someone dangerous inside or something still occurring, I didn't want them to be hurt, or the citizens that were onlookers had started to gather, so I wanted to make sure they were all back as far as I could on my own. So
at that point, were you still alone, or had you been joined by other officers?
I was still alone.
Okay. What did you do next?
Once I was able to get the kids out of the car and out of the front yard, then I approached carefully with my firearm out and went towards the front of the house and tried to listen for anything that was actively occurring or see if I could see anything through the front.
Were there any signs that anything was occurring actively?
No.
You said you tried to see something through the front. What was it you're trying to do?
The curtains were closed, and then I started making my way out, and again I was asking for backup and emergency traffic, and which means clearing the radio so that I could speak just based on the situation that something may have happened or be happening. Then I started making my way around the house to check around the house.
Okay. What happened next?
I started on the house faces south. So I started on the east side of the house. So if I was facing the house, the right side of the house, started going alongside and looking at the windows, trying to pay attention to noises if I heard anything going on inside the house. Made my way to the back because one of the complainants had mentioned seeing a body through the back door, through the window of the back door.
Okay. Did you eventually make a circuit around the entire house?
I went to the back, looked through the window, saw the body or the leg, and then...
well, let me stop you right there. You say you looked through the back window?
The back door, bottom of the back door, had a glass partition.
Okay, so the door wasn't open?
Door was not open, it was locked.
Okay. And you looked through there and you saw, what was it?
A leg, a human leg, sticking out, laying on the floor, sticking out from behind a couch.
Your training experience, did that stand out to you?
Yes, obviously, I thought somebody was hurt or had been hurt. The leg wasn't moving, appeared still.
What did you do next?
Then of course, I'm still transmitting on the radio, trying to get somebody en route to back me up. And then I looked around the west side of the house to see if there were any broken windows or anything that would indicate something, immediate, some forcible entry, and there wasn't. So I made my way back around the back and the east side of the house and took cover because I had backup that was a couple minutes away, it sounded like, and waited for them to get there.
So in your circuit around the house and your observations, did you see any signs of forced entry?
No. I noticed a screen that was a little wonky, but the window was closed and appeared secured, and I didn't notice anything else.
And just for clarification, what were we talking about, forced entry?
Forced entry, broken glass, obvious, broken door hinge, as in kicked in or what have you, broken windows, windows ajar, doors ajar, anything like that, and I didn't notice that.
All right. Did you, you mentioned the back door was locked. Did you try the front door?
Eventually, yes.
Okay. Was the front door locked?
Yes.
Okay, so both front and back door locked, no sign of forced entry?
Yes.
No broken windows?
No broken anything.
All right, so you take cover, waiting for backup.
Yes.
If you've seen the leg and obviously what that signified to you, why are you waiting for backup versus trying to gain entry yourself right then?
Again, it was still the exterior and everything. I would be better off having another officer there, because if I go in and get killed, then nobody's getting, I'm not laughing, but we're not getting anything done. And I had backup that was about to me based on the radio traffic. So I just took cover for a second, and then when they got to me, we approached the door and then tried to get in.
So that's part of your, if I understand you correctly, that's part of your training experience then, to wait for backup if it's readily available?
If something's actively occurring and we can tell that it's occurring and it's in progress, yelling or what have you, then I would have been forced to go inside and address the issue. It appeared, especially the blood on the outside of the house appeared dried, and it appeared that whatever had occurred some time ago.
Okay. So you said backup was en route. Did
Yes.
the backup arrive?
Yes.
Who was that?
Officer Kidd, Derek Kidd.
Okay. When Officer Kidd arrived, what did you do next?
We approached the front door. I tried kicking in the door, and that was first we tried the doorknob to see if we could get in. The curtains were bloody, and I'd already seen that, but I tried kicking the front door, couldn't open it, or that didn't work. So we tried the door handle, it was locked, and Officer Kidd finally, there was a window on the right side or the east side of the door, so Officer Kidd used his baton to break the window open.
Showing the previously introduced in the evidence based composite 5B, indicating a photo of the house. Appears to be a broken window on the right-hand side of the doorway. Is that the window you're referring to?
Yes.
So Officer Kidd broke that with his baton?
Yes.
So what happened next?
So he reached in, like I said, the door was locked. He reached in, and the bolt and I believe the handle also were both locked, opened those. And then we called out, or I peeked in there and called out to anyone inside to make any noise or what have you.
Did anybody respond?
Nobody responded.
Okay. So what happened next?
I observed a female body lying in the front room.
Now at this point, are you inside the home or are you still outside the home?
Outside looking in.
Okay. Have you been able to open the door, or are you looking through that window we talked about?
I think initially and it was all happening very fast, but I peeked through the window and saw the female on the floor.
Okay. At some point, were you joined by Officer Wyman?
Yes.
Okay. Well, let me back up then. So you've looked in and you see the female lying by the door. What happened next?
Then we entered, Officer Kidd and I entered the front room to do kind of an initial protective sweep, which is we're clearing the front immediately accessible rooms to make sure there were no suspects or victims inside the kitchen and the main room.
Okay. And at this point, it's still you and Officer Kidd?
Yes, sir. And Wyman was almost to us, so
Joined shortly
we waited
thereafter?
a second for him. Mm-hmm.
Okay. In clearing a house, how do you go about doing that?
It depends on how many people we have, but there are certain standards. Like if there's an open door, we check that door first. If it's a closed door, we watch the closed door to make sure it doesn't open. But we have certain standards in accordance with that. But we do a protective sweep. So we're looking for bodies. We're looking for any suspects or any place that a person can hide. So we check the main room, we check the kitchen, and then we move our way to the back, and it's systematic. And we just check each room and what have you until we clear the whole house.
And you mentioned you're looking for bodies, but you're also looking for persons that are alive.
Yes.
Correct? Okay.
Well, that's the main thing, suspects.
I'm sorry?
Yes.
Okay. The purpose of this, is it to collect evidence and find evidence and things along those lines? Okay. So what is the purpose of doing this protective sweep you're talking about?
It's safety. It's to make sure there's nobody hurt or injured and that there are no more suspects in the house.
Okay. And what was your role in clearing this particular house?
I was the third person back, so I was watching behind us while assisting with the clearing.
Okay. So you're the third person back, so at this point, Officer Wyman's already arrived and he's assisting with the clearing?
Yes. Officer Kidd's in the middle and Officer Wyman's on the front.
What'd you see?
We went down the hallway, and as we were going down the hallway, we cleared the bathroom, which was on our right, for walking north. It was on the right, and we saw some bodies in the bathtub, and then we cleared the rest of the house, and we cleared, meaning we didn't find anybody else in the house, suspects or otherwise. But, yeah.
You said there are bodies in the bathtub. Do you go up and actually physically move them, or do any kind of real inspection in the situation?
We kept clearing the house.
After you cleared the house, what did you do next?
We went outside and just made sure that the scene was secure, so that no one else could enter or what have you until we got the appropriate agency, like forensics and investigators down.
Investigators, talking about the criminal investigation
Yes, sir.
division?
Yeah.
And crime scene, talking about forensic specialists that
Yes,
actually
sir.
do the analysis, or not the analysis necessarily, but the collection of evidence and things like that. Is that
Yes,
correct?
sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
We see a lot of the yellow tape here. Is that y'all doing that, or other officers that are involved in trying to secure the scene? Is that part of that security?
Other
team?
officers that had arrived, by then.
So and when you say securing the scene, you're trying to make sure those people you talked about earlier aren't there, aren't coming into the house, backing them up, and then eventually it's roped off, I guess?
Yes, basically the house and everything in it was evidence. So we didn't want people walking in and out and destroying the evidence. We wanted to secure it so no one else could get in besides the people, the investigators and the forensics technicians that would need to be inside conducting the investigation.
And I'm showing you things, Exhibit 5A. You had mentioned a car that was in the front. Is that the car we're talking about?
Yes, sir.
That's the one with the kids in it?
Yes, sir.
And is all of that as it was whenever you approached the house?
Yes, sir.
Cross. All right. Any juror have a question of this witness? All right, you can step down. You want to keep her subject to recall? All right, you'll be subject to recall. Call your next witness.
They will call Sean Wyman.
If you face the clerk and be sworn, please.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you give in this case will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Have a seat. Slide up the rail, please, sir. May proceed.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Can you please introduce yourself to the jurors?
Yes, hello. My name is Sean Wyman. I'm a police officer with Tallahassee Police Department.
And Officer Wyman, how long have you been with the Tallahassee Police Department?
It'll be 20 years, January 3rd.
Happy anniversary almost.
Almost. Yes, sir.
Prior to joining with the Tallahassee Police Department, were you employed with any other law enforcement agency?
No, sir. This is my first one.
Okay. Now, were you working back on November 20th of 2010?
Yes, sir, I was.
On that morning, did you have an occasion to respond to 908 Saddle Creek Run?
Yes, sir, I did.
And we heard from Officer Jernigan. My understanding is you were there to respond for backup for an ongoing event.
Yes, sir.
When you arrived, what did you first see?
When I first got there, the front door was open. There was a woman that was laying right there in front of the door on the inside, and there was a lot of blood along the walls. I saw a shovel, as I remember seeing like a small red shovel there, and then of course I saw Officer Jernigan and Officer Kidd, who were posted right there at the hallway.
What does that mean, posted?
Like they were set up there waiting for another officer to get there to clear the house.
Okay. When we say clear the house, what are you talking about?
I'm talking about making sure that we make sure that that there's nobody inside the residence as far as any somebody who, bad person or somebody who's hurt or injured inside the house somewhere.
Okay. And did you join them in clearing the house?
I did.
Okay. What was your role in that clearing?
So my role became the primary, or what they would call the point person, because I had been on an entry team for the tactical apprehension control team for 5 years, and I was currently a canine handler at the time. So I had a lot of tactical experience, as well as military background prior to going into law enforcement. So based on the officers that were there, I had the most experience, so I took that position.
It was my understanding you actually trained as an Army Ranger back in prior to going to law enforcement?
Yes, sir, I was.
Okay. So you're law enforcement, former Army Ranger, tactical team, and most experienced at that time. So you took point.
Yes, sir.
What is point?
So point is the lead person going down that hallway.
Okay. And as I understand it, clearing it for purpose of making sure there's no suspects present still or nobody in need of medical assistance, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, so walk us through what happened.
So, like I said, I take the lead. We start down the hallway. There's a door immediately to the right that leads into a bathroom. I remember that it was really dark when I went in. I flipped the light switch. I walk in. There's a bathtub basically right there in front of me, and I'll never forget. I saw two deceased juveniles in the tub, and it's not. The part that I remember the most was that I saw them, I called it on the radio, and then I immediately just walked back out like it was nothing, because I was in this mode of need to make sure that there's nobody in the house that's going to hurt us or hurt anybody else, and make sure that there's nobody else that's actually hurt.
You say you didn't react. I mean, I know there's no visual reaction when you're talking about, but you're trying to perform your duties still in clearing the house.
Yes, sir.
So you're focused on that. That's where your focus was. Is that
right.
correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you see two juveniles in the bath,
yes,
appear
sir.
to be deceased, and you continue clearing.
Yes, sir.
All right, walk us through that.
So we come out of the bathroom, and then we continue to clear the other rooms. I believe there were 3 bedrooms, if I remember right. So we clear all the rooms. We make sure that nobody else is inside the residence. And then once we get done doing that, then we start trying to figure out, okay, we know we got more resources that are going to be coming with this scene. We need to figure out what's the best way to keep from contaminating this scene. So that's what we started focusing on.
Okay. And when you say keep them from contaminating the scene, what are you talking about?
I'm talking about touching, tampering, or messing with any type of evidence that could be there. Just basically leaving everything as it is, not touching anything, not messing with anything. We verified that nobody was inside the house, that there was no concerns of anybody else that was injured inside the house, so it was time to back out, secure it, and wait for the proper resources to come in and do what they need to do.
While you're waiting for the other resources, we're talking about criminal investigative division, which investigators as well as crime scene, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Supervisors probably as well, if I had to make
yes,
sure.
Sir.
Yes. Okay. Did you become aware of a possible third child that was missing?
I did. It was actually after the scene was secured, and we were now in a position where we were told to go and start talking to people in the neighborhood. And I was standing there on the street, and a woman approached me and said, "Have you, did you find my daughter? Have you seen my grandkids?" And then she, through her, she was explaining to me that there should have been 3 grandkids, and I was realizing that we had only found 2.
Okay. So did you take any steps to try and locate the third?
I did. I went to Sergeant Ormerod at that point. I said, "Hey, I got a witness who's saying that there should be 3 kids. I don't know. I didn't see them. Only ones I saw were the 2, but there's a possibility maybe that the third one could have been in the tub, and I just didn't see it." And so at that point, I was assigned to go back in with a forensic specialist to go in back into that bathroom and verify that the third one was in there.
So you, again, entered the home, walked through the home, and went to verify whether the child was there or not in the bathroom.
Yes, sir.
Did you find that child?
Yes, sir.
During the course of securing this scene and all your steps that were taken there, did you try and establish a way of getting in and out of the house for you in the crime scene that wasn't utilizing the front door?
I did. I determined that the garage was the best pathway to come in and out. And then at least until we had everything set up. So we made the decision to use the garage as the exit point to come out.
Why?
It just seemed to be the least contaminated out of everything that we had dealt with. We knew that we had children in the bathtub, and we didn't want to go down that hallway. And we also had the woman that was laying in the front door, so we definitely didn't want to keep walking in and out through the front door and like I said, trying to stepping in stuff or messing with things that didn't need to be messed with.
Around this time of the state photographs, composite 6, 8 through N into evidence.
Any objection? Be admitted.
First, I'm going to show you, Mr. Wyman, 6A, or Officer Wyman. 6A, what are we looking at here?
That's the garage to the house. That's on the, if I remember right, it's on the east side of the house.
Okay. Was that garage door open when you arrived like it is there?
No, I don't believe it was. I believe it was closed.
Okay. And would that be the steps that y'all took to get that egress and ingress
Yes, sir.
area?
That's
6B?
That's the inside of the garage, and then that's the doorway that leads into the kitchen dining area, if I remember right.
6C?
I believe that's once you come in from the garage, the kitchen area.
And then 6D appears to be another angle of the same.
Yes, sir.
6E kind of looks to be like it's facing the opposite direction.
Yes, sir. That's now looking back into the living room towards the west. You're going to have the hallway that's down to the right, if you make a right, and then the front door entrance. Oh, I'm sorry.
Top button.
Oh, I apologize. So if I'm going this way, I'm going down the hallway. If I'm going this way, that's going to be the front door or the entryway.
Okay. And this doorway right here is what?
I believe that's the garage. That's the way that we use to get in and out.
And this is where we can first see that's the female that was found, correct?
Yes, sir.
So this is going to be the front door area.
Yes, sir.
6F.
That's the living room, and of course the deceased is going to be back over on this side over here by the front door, and then this is the right here is where Officer Jernigan and Officer Kidd were posted up waiting for me when I got here, and then this is going to be the hallway that we go down.
6G.
That's the main living room area. And again, if you go to the right, it's going to be where the entryway is back over on this side over here. And then the hallway is going to be back on this side over here.
So this is kind of at a previous table, I guess countertop that's all, this would be looking straight out into the living room.
Yes, sir.
Countertop.
Yes, sir.
6H.
So 6H is going to be where the entryway was. This is where we initially, all of us, came in at. Had to step over the woman here and go get this way to get to the hallway.
So upon entry, you, Officer Kidd, Officer Jernigan would have had to step across here and over her essentially to gain entry.
Yes, I don't know exactly how I know that they came through the front door. I don't know which way they stepped. I know for me, I tried to step around the head side and come through that way.
Around
right
this
there.
area?
Yes, sir.
6I.
I believe that's going to also, that's the living room area as well. That's a plant that was knocked over. That's going to be the front door. That's the legs of the woman. So the front door is going to be right here, and then this is the living room area here.
6J appears to be again, we're talking about the garage door here.
Yes, sir.
Correct, and then the front entryway.
Yes, sir.
6K.
Yeah, thanks for turning it.
Yeah,
That's okay. That's the hallway, and this is the very first room that we went into right here, the bathroom.
Okay. You mentioned bedrooms going down. This appears to be a doorway right here. Is that one of the bedrooms?
I believe so. Again, I don't remember exactly how the bedrooms were positioned, but yeah, I believe this is a bedroom, this is a bedroom, and I thought there was one more deep, and if I'm not mistaken, this is the exit out the back, which would have been the north side of the residence into the backyard.
And 6L.
Yes, sir, that's the bathroom that we walked into and what we saw when we walked in.
6M. The children.
Yes, sir.
It appears to be 3 of them visible at this point. Did you have to manipulate one of them in order to?
Did not. Just the first time, I didn't see it. I mean, it was quick. I saw what I saw. We didn't manipulate anything when we went back in.
Okay. All right. And then finally, 6N, I think it is, back of the residence?
Yes, sir.
And that's that back door that you previously pointed out?
Yes, sir.
No further questions.
Cross. All right, any juror have a question of this witness? All right, write your question down, we'll go sidebar. And were you able to determine whether the back door was locked?
It's a great question, and I'll be honest with you, I do not recall if it was locked or if it wasn't. I want to say it was locked, but I can't tell you. It's a great question, but I really don't know the answer 100%. I want to say it was locked because I know when we did the securing the crime scene and when we got other officers there and there were people in the backyard and stuff, I want to say it was locked, but I honestly don't remember.
Okay, further,
There you go.
Mr. Prince. All right, you can step down.
Thank you, Your Honor.
We need to keep this witness further.
If we retain Your Honor, we can go about it.
All right, be subject to recall.
Yes, sir.
Call your next witness.
All right, let's have a table call here for Doubrava.
You'd face the clerk and be sworn, please, ma'am.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you give in this case will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I do.
Have a seat. Slide up the rail, please, ma'am. May proceed, Mr. Hughes.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning.
Morning.
Can you please introduce yourself to the jurors?
Sure. My name is Lieutenant April Doubrava Wilder.
Okay, and can you please spell your first and last name for Madam Reporter?
My first name is April, A-P-R-I-L. Last name is Doubrava, D-O-U-B-R-A-V-A -Wilder, W-I-L-D-E-R.
And you work for Tallahassee Police Department.
I do.
How long have you worked there?
24 years.
And what is your role at the Tallahassee Police Department?
I'm currently the lieutenant over the personnel development and recruitment, which is basically our training and recruitment section.
Okay. Back in November of 2010, what were your duties there?
I was a homicide investigator.
What does that mean?
We're assigned Criminal Investigation Division. Homicide investigators are also called violent crimes investigators. We investigate anything from assaults, batteries, aggravated assaults, aggravated batteries, and then homicides. We also respond to suicides, accidental deaths, and then unattended deaths that are questionable.
And in November 2010, approximately how long have you been with the homicide investigation at that point?
2.5 to 3 years.
Okay. About how many people are in the homicide, investigators are in the homicide division at that time?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I think it's between almost 8, maybe 8 investigators.
Okay. Lots of them.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
During your role there, now as a homicide investigator, you have certain kind of training experience, I assume, to do that?
Yes, we do.
Okay, what is that, if you can?
We go to specialized schools, so like, homicide investigation school, we go to victimology, or can go to victimology school, any kind of advanced training, interviews and interrogations, different things like that.
Okay.
Forensics.
Did you become involved in a homicide investigation at the location of 908 South Creek Run?
I did.
How was it you become involved in that?
It was my day off. I was not on call, but because of the nature of the case, we get called in and come help. And my sergeant called me and asked me to come in and help with the investigation.
What does on-call mean?
On call, so throughout the week, there's always one of us that is dedicated to being the one that gets called to come in. So after, our normal work hours of 8 to 5, if something happens, then there's one of us that is on call to respond. And so we share that throughout the week. It's usually a different person every day or every week. It just depends on how they work it during that time.
And would the on-call officer investigator be typically the one that then is assigned to that case as the, lead investigator, for lack of a better term?
Right. If you're on call, you usually get the case. It's usually yours unless you've just been inundated that week or something. But that's normally typically how it works. Is if you're on call, then it's yours, and you're the lead investigator for that case, and then we all come in and assist.
Okay. And so you were not on call, correct?
Right. I was not on call.
So you're not the lead investigator.
Right.
Who was the lead investigator? Who was on call?
Investigator Mark Lewis.
Okay. So what was your role as you responded on November 20th?
When I got to the scene, the sergeant tasked me with assisting with the crime scene, basically being the eyes inside the house for the investigators that are out working.
Okay. Why is that important?
There's details inside or things that I see that I can relay to them. They need to be out doing other things, obviously. So we're working as a team, and the scene can tell us some things. They can ask me to look for some things, and it's just kind of it's a way to keep the information flow going.
Okay. So you're tasked now with, I guess, working with the crime scene investigators.
Yes.
Okay. How do they go about, typically, with including your liaison with them, working a scene such as this?
So they have a method that they kind of do it. First, we can kind of talk to the officers that first respond and get an idea of what's inside the house. Then a forensic specialist will go in and they'll actually video the entire scene as it is. And then they'll back out and we'll kind of work out where we think the best way to approach the scene is from. We usually will try to pick an area that is what we consider the least disturbed. You wouldn't want to work right in where everything is and disturb it. First, you want to kind of come from the side that has the least amount of evidence and work your way in through that. So we determined that the back door was probably the best way to come in, and they will then, the specialist will go, after they do the video, they go in and they photograph the pieces of evidence. They then put a marker by the evidence, and then they photograph it again. And then after they've done that, they mark where it is. They'll collect it or swab it, depending on what kind of evidence it is, what they need to do.
Do you recall whether the back door was locked at the time that officers arrived and subsequently had to unlock in order to gain access?
The forensic specialist advised that it was locked, but the bottom handle lock only, not the deadbolt.
The deadbolt was not locked, but the bottom twist one was?
Right.
Okay. All right. And you mentioned the video that is done typically as once entry is made.
Correct.
Okay. Have you had an opportunity to view that video?
I have.
And it's an accurate video of the scene?
It is.
Your Honor, I move to the number 7 in evidence.
Any objection? Be admitted.
And Your Honor, I ask permission to publish the jury.
You may.
My screen is not there. There we go.
You notice it always takes the young person in the room to get the computer working.
Thank you for calling me old, Your Honor. obviously outside the garage, where, at this point.
I think that was the question.
Okay, I wasn't sure, sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
Yes, this is, so the first officers that went in actually came out the garage, so that's where the technician went in the first time. This is her coming back in the way that they came out, and it's the garage, yes.
Again, this video is shot as things were found, correct? Other than the officers doing the initial clearing?
Correct, right, this isn't first entry back into the house once it's cleared, and they're nobody that needs attention, medical attention, or suspects inside, so yes.
In this particular case, nobody required any medical attention, unfortunately, correct?
Correct.
Why are they videotaping their pantry and just stuff like that?
Show the state of the house at that time, what was there. Sometimes, it might be important later. All of a sudden, something in the pantry is important that we didn't know about there, so we have it documented.
So it's fair to say that as you're doing this and conducting the crime scene, at this point, you don't know what's going to be important and what's not, so you're trying to make sure you get everything.
Absolutely.
This appears to be the little boy's room.
Yes, this is Javante's bedroom.
And this would have been the first bedroom on the left-hand side going down the hallway.
Correct.
And this would be looking into the bedroom that would have been on the right-hand side of the hallway past the bathroom, is that correct?
Right, this is the master.
So this is going to be the master
bedroom, Brandi's room.
It appears it got brighter there. Did somebody turn the lights on?
Correct.
So the lights would have been off?
The lights were off initially.
What are we looking at there? What is that all that?
It's the contents from the purse. So you see the purse on the ground, and then on the bed, it appears to be everything that would have been in a purse: cards, wallet.
What's through this door? What are we looking at here?
That's the master bathroom. So there's a shower tub and a water closet in there.
Again, the light had to be turned on, it appears?
Yes.
Okay. So you come in, you got the tub and the shower, obviously, on the right-hand side.
Right.
What's behind that door right there?
That's the toilet, water closet.
TV, was it on whenever officers got it and turned that on, did you?
No, we didn't turn that on. That was on.
Appears that we're out in the hallway again, is that correct?
Yes. There's a linen closet.
Oh, we're talking about right there? Linen
Correct.
closet?
Yes.
Which bedroom are we looking at here?
This is the twins' bedrooms, Tamaya and Tanaya.
The lights had to be turned on?
Yes.
TV again, it was on when you got there?
Right, TV was on.
Now, as it relates to the scene, looks like there's a lot there, obviously.
Yes.
Were y'all able to process and do all of your work all on that one day, November 20th, or did you have to go back on more than one occasion?
No, we did the most that they could do that day, then secured the house, and we came back another days.
Okay. How do you go about securing a house for the purposes if you've got multiple days and stuff like that, making sure it remains secure?
Oh, they'll close the doors and secure all the doors with evidence tape, and then we'll post officers at the house.
So it's maintained security the entire time?
Maintain security, yes.
When you talk about securing it with evidence tape, how do you go about doing that, make sure?
It's tape that once you put on, it's very easily, it tears very easily. So if someone were trying to manipulate the tape or open the door, it would tear. You would notice the obvious, disturbance.
So y'all like put them over the door where if it opened up, you'd have to tear it or cut it or something?
You'd have to know that the door had been manipulated.
Okay. Did you go back for other reasons? Not just secure this crime, not just for crime scene processing, were there other reasons that you went back?
Yeah, yes, absolutely. Went back to the scene multiple times.
What are the purposes, at some point, Mark Lewis, the lead investigator, your purpose is to report back, and you're obviously the liaison with crime scene. Did you ever participate in asking questions of people and things along those lines?
Yes, I did.
Okay. At any point, did you go back to the area when there were, I know it's right next to Capitol Stadium and the fairgrounds, at any point did you go back into the area when there's a game going on or something loud?
Yes, so based on the timing of time of night and things like that, we went back out at the same exact kind of time of night, and there was a football game going on at the Capitol Stadium.
Why would you go back around the same time of night and stuff like that? What's the purpose of doing that?
People are a habit, and so the people that were home at that time, at the time that we feel like the murder occurred, then that's when we're going to try to see who's home, who might not be home during the day. They're just obviously coming and going, so we're trying to capture most people that might be there at night.
Okay. Did anything, you mentioned that at one point there was a game going on, did anything stand out to you about how loud it was?
Yeah, it was very loud. I've worked nights for many years, so I'm aware that sound travels a lot more at night. Things that occur during the day, I guess there's just filtered things that cause it not to travel as much. But at night, you can kind of hear things, and that game was loud.
Did you ever go into one of the homes while that game or anything was going on?
I did.
Anything stand out to you about that?
I didn't hear the game when we were inside the house, so I was kind of surprised as loud as it was out there going in the houses, and we didn't hear that same noise.
So, kind of, well, probably not soundproof, but definitely sound didn't travel very well into the homes from one home to another?
I guess not. Didn't hear it.
Okay. You would agree that gunshots are pretty loud. You've got experience with firearms, correct?
I agree, yes.
Okay. You feel that maybe that because that sound differential you had could mask a gunshot while sitting in another person's house?
It's possible.
And just for clarification, this was in Leon County, correct, the home?
Yes.
Okay. No further questions.
Cross. Did you ever have a question of this? All right, you can step down.
Okay, thanks.
Do we need to keep her further?
Should we retain, Your Honor, but not, she can go out of business.
Okay. We're going to take a lunch break here in just a minute. I haven't forgotten it's lunchtime. Just one comment. If at any point in time you can't hear a witness, just raise your hand. I can manipulate the volume. I want to make sure everybody's hearing. Before you leave, I want to get the deputy, make sure you understand where you're coming back to. I know this building's a little confusing. On the third floor, once you come into the back area, don't go to the front area. We've got witnesses hanging out there, and there's also dependency court going on across the hall, so it gets very confusing out there. So make sure that you understand where you're coming to the back area, and we're on the third floor. Don't let anyone talk to you. Don't talk to anybody about the case. You're going to make sure they're acclimated to where they are, Deputy Granger?
Yes, sir.
All right. Let's plan 1:30. I'm going to give you a little bit longer than normal. This first day eating lunch, so you kind of got to figure your way around. There is a snack bar on the second floor that has pretty good food. There's a Metro Deli, Goodies Deli. St. John's Church has a pretty good lunch, so there are, a number of options for your lunch. But anyway, have a good lunch. We'll see you at 1:30. I'd be seated for just a second.
1:30, right?
Mr. Prince has indicated by and large he didn't have objection to the evidence. I wonder if we could work something out, just kind of en masse, put most of the evidence in, reserving as to whatever might be contested.
Your Honor, we've discussed doing that. It's the state's intention to do it kind of one at a time, so that way we can point out where each piece was found. We want to have to do the identificational aspects of it. We're just going to, instead of saying, recognize all that'll be, this time we'll move states number 1 into evidence, or if you want, we can do states 1 through whatever into evidence, and then we can just point out as we go.
But I'll let y'all discuss it, but it would seem to me we'd save some time just to at least put in evidence what's being presented that day or something along those lines. Obviously, they want to tell us where they got it, what the significance of it is. But anyway, I'll let y'all discuss it. work out what you can. Anything else from either side?
No, they are.
All right, start back at 1:30, have your witness in place, please. All right, we'll be in recess.